Hello everyone, and welcome back to another FireRed playthrough. It's your host Recon Fox 64 here, and I'm going to be playing some FireRed, as I just said. So I went out grinding while we were gone because I decided we needed Kadabra on our team because while I was kind of torn about getting rid of Eradicate or not. I was thinking about it, and Eradicate doesn't really get any good moves other than Super Fang, and all Super Fang guarantees is that we're gonna half the opponent's attack. I've been out at the Pokemon gym, but I always lose. Yeah, the gym's gonna be challenging. So I decided to bring Kadabra because Kadabra will help us immensely against Agatha, where Eradicate was gonna help us. Because I don't know when we get if we get Shadow Claw in this game. I think I'm thinking of Soul Silver and Heart Gold, but that was my plan to teach Eradicate with Shadow Claw because even though it's not a stab move, he should still be immensely helpful against Agatha because most of her Pokemon are Ghost type, right? Well, I looked it up and I forgot in this generation, Agatha doesn't really have Ghost type because in this generation, the only Ghost type line was Ghastly. She has Poison type, so when I always considered her like the Ghost type Elite Four member, I guess we should have started considering her the Poison type, even though Koga is Poison as well. So with our Kadabra, Koga, who's the 5th gym leader, who we'll meet after we battle Erica, will help us there, and then we should have an Alakazam by the time we get to Agatha. So yeah. And now we're gonna head through Rock Tunnel. So this video is gonna be a little longer, because it's gonna be a lot of us kind of climbing through it. So I know this is gonna be a little crazy and long, but yeah. And I know we can teach. Do I want to teach Kadabra Flash? That's the issue, because Kadabra can learn Flash, as you just saw. But do I teach it Flash? Because, I mean... But yeah, I think I'm just gonna grab Pikachu. Yeah, because Pikachu can learn Flash, I think. And as you can see, Eradicate's in there. But Pikachu can learn Flash. It's not too under-leveled. And, yeah, I think we'll be fine with Pikachu. So, since that's the case, we're gonna go and get rid of Flash, get rid of it and teach it to Pikachu, because I don't plan on using Pikachu. Also, I plan on starting to record Soul Silver soon. I know we haven't finished this, but we're about halfway through, so I don't know if I'll be uploading it with this, but I do know I start school soon. I start school back in August, it's already July, so I'm trying to crank these videos out as fast as I can, but just in case, I'm going to start recording ahead some Soul Silver, so if you see that pop up in the feed, enjoy. I'm a big fan of Gen 4, not as much as a fan as Gen 3, but that is our next game, and yeah, so my goal before I start college back up again, because as I said before, I'm at a university now. I'm at Fresno State, if those of you who live in California. So I'm excited to start it up, but I want to try to get us to Gen 3, because then on Christmas break I can get us more into Gen 4 and 5, because there's so many Pokemon games. Once we get to Gen 3, it's going to be side by side with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue, Red Rescue, because I like Blue Rescue Team, Pokemon Fight, Ready Go. I like Blue Rescue Team, but it's just the DS port of Red Rescue Team, so there's not a difference. I'll check. I didn't think there was a difference. If there's like, oh, you get these Pokemon over that Pokemon, I'll check it out, but if it's not like that big of a difference, I'm going to choose Red Rescue Team because that was my first experience at a Mystery Dungeon game. I love it. To this day, I still play Red Rescue Team DX because even though I've beaten the game, I decided to go back and restart and choose some stuff, and so I'm excited to play that on this channel because I learned some new things, considering that it's a, say, Generation 8 because it contains fairy type, but it only contains Gen 1 to, well no, it contains, let's see, it has delayed, so that's Gen 4, also has Magnezone. I'll say it's a Gen 4 game to me. It's a Gen 4 game, or Gen 6 game. Let's go with Gen 6 because it has fairy type. So I'm going to consider the new one a Gen 6 game. I know it's probably more along the lines of a new generation or a game because I'm sure there's abilities and stuff in there that you didn't see in Gen 6. But, and I know that wasn't very effective. But a strat that I learned is just because a move's not very effective, it could be like a good move to use. Like stab carried us through that fight because it only took us I think 3 or 4 4 shots. And so yeah. Alright, if you guys saw that rare candy business, I don't know. It was an optical illusion, I'm sure. But anyways, yeah. Well, oh, so I'm going to consider Red Rescue Team DX a Gen, let's say a Gen 6 game because it's a fairy type. That's what I consider, like, if a game is, I have these Pokemon from Gen 6, but most of these Pokemon from Gen 1 to 4, I'll consider it Gen 6 because it has the fairy typing. And I only consider that because you can become Sylveon, and I know that because of my second playthrough, I was an Eevee with a Cubo partner. Which, if you ever want to play a Mystery Dungeon game, I'd recommend you starting out with the newest one, DX, because it has all the components of the current Pokemon game, so I know most people are up to date on that. Most people play Violet and Scarlet. So it's most of the components of that, but you're limited to Pokemon from Gen 1 through 4? Or 1 through 4 with the exception of Sylveon. So you have one Gen 6 in there, unless I'm wrong. If I am, let me know. But anyways, further on to it, it's a good kind of introduction to the games because it is a big... So every spin-off of Pokemon is a big kind of step away from the main set. Because most of the spin-off games, you're not a Pokemon trainer. You're either, so Mystery Dungeon's case, you're a Pokemon. So you're a human who gets turned into a Pokemon. Ranger's case, you're not a trainer but a ranger. So you're someone who doesn't catch Pokemon but capture them with stylus. And if you're running while I'm running around, I think we can find Onix or Rhyhorn in here. So we'll try that. Don't often come here, but I will battle you. Okay, great. But yeah, it's so like in Pokemon Ranger, you're a ranger, so you don't have Pokemon. You use what's called a capture styler, and you befriend them. And so once you use them and you use their ability, they run away. Pokemon Conquest, you have Pokemon, but you have a single Pokemon you can use, and it's not like you can switch out in the middle of battles. Before you go in a battle, you have to have the Pokemon you want chosen, and then you have other people you play along with who have Pokemon that you can choose. You and every warlord in that game have a perfect link, and so the perfect link's best because they give you special abilities, like they allow you to, your character is able to evolve in that game. So not just Pokemon evolve in Conquest, but humans. And then, I'm trying to think of other Pokemon Snap, taking pictures of Pokemon. I've never played it, but if you guys want to see that, please let me know. And I might even play it, I might get to it. But if you do really want to see it, let me know, and it will be a definite lead that I'm going to play that. Is there any other? So we got Conquest, Ranger, Mystery Dungeon, Snap. There's Pokemon Pinball. There's Pokemon the Geometric one. Ooh, Stadium, Gale of Darkness, and Revolution. I do plan on playing those. I don't know when because I gotta figure out a way to play them for you guys. But my goal is to play Gale of Darkness, Coliseum, Stadium, and Battle Revolution because those were like the spin-offs I grew up playing when the Wii came out. Yeah, I love them. I still have to get Wii Sports on the Switch. I know it came out a while ago, but I just never got up to getting it. So I really want to buy it, and then since I'm thinking, I think the baseball game works on there. So a game I'd love to see them remaster next that's a sport-themed game. I don't know if anyone remembers Super Mario Strikers, but Super Mario Strikers was a baseball game, and it is so much fun. If you've never played Super Mario Strikers, I'd like highly recommend it if you have a Wii, because that game, as I said, is a baseball game. So you basically play as different Mario characters, and you all are battling in baseball. And of course, while you're playing baseball, guess who comes to the island, aka Bowser. And so you gotta like battle Bowser while collecting baseball players. Do you know about Pokemon cosplay? I have seen Pokemon cosplay. I don't know how to feel about it per se. I think it's cool. Any cosplay is cool. It's just sometimes I feel like people get really, not the people playing cosplaying, but other people get really into it. I feel bad because if you want to cosplay as Eevee or Charmander or Charizard, woo, you know, that's it. If you want to cosplay as any of the trainers, so Red or Ash or anyone, woo. You know, I myself just know how to feel because I've never cosplayed. Yes, I've dressed up for Halloween, but to me, like, cosplay is like, and if you're a cosplayer watching this video, please let me know in the comments of mine. To me, cosplay is like, you're not just dressing up as the character, but you're kind of like getting into the character as if an actor would. Because yes, a lot of people at conventions I've seen for videos, they're just normal people standing around cosplaying as their favorite characters and talking. But other people really get into it, which one of my favorite things is, like, they'll act like their character. If they're like a stormtrooper, they'll have a built-in thing that voices them. There's this one girl who goes around dressed as an Imperial officer and finds everyone but the Emperor, which I think is really cool. But yeah, like, that's to me is cosplaying in a nutshell. I might be wrong on that, but it's just, to me, it's like you get into characters. So if you dress up as Eevee, like, I would expect you, if I were to come up to you, just say Evoy, you know, say your name constantly because you're in character. If you don't, I'm going to be like, okay, you're cosplaying, but you're doing more of a costume thing instead of like what I consider cosplay. Yeah, I've never done it. I've never been to an anime convention. I really want to go to one. But every time one's in town, it's either a place I can't reach because it's too far away, or I just don't have the time to go to it. So that is like a dream of mine, is to finally one day go to a convention and actually like get enough money to dress up as one of my favorite characters. And I do an anime character because to me, like, the anime con, or what do they call it? Expo? Anime Expo is what it's called. Like the Anime Expo, I'd probably dress up as one of my favorite characters. I'd have to find one who I could pull off because, well, I know you've never seen my face, but I have tan skin, I have black hair, so, you know, I'm Native American and Mexican, or not Mexican, Spaniard, sorry, from Spain. And so, I have tan skin, so I'm curious who I could cosplay as, because I know skin color does not matter. Like, you can cosplay as anyone, no matter what you look like, but I want to be authentic, so I might go as Guts or someone sometime just because Berserk is a really messed up anime and has some of the most, I'll say most disrespectful moments I've ever seen in an anime at times. Then again, I've seen Baki, and I have to say, my best friend and Master Ant turned me on to that anime, and he's like, okay, so it's an anime about fighting, and I'm like, okay, well, he said hit me with your best shot, I did not say that. He's like, it's an anime about fighting, and I had been a fan of fighting animes. I've watched Kenichi, Mightiest Disciple, I really can't off the top of my head think of others, because that's like, to me, the titular I'm gonna train martial arts anime, and you know, that's my stick. So that's to me what that is. I guess Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, because technically, you know, it's a fighting anime. In that case, like, so is One Piece and Naruto and etc. But anyways, so to me, fighting, I think of a fighting anime as like one that's martial arts oriented. So I guess, yeah, One Piece would kind of fit with the addition of the CP9 and their like unique fighting style, and then Dragon Ball is all about martial arts. But yeah, so he told me to watch Baki, and I was at his house. We were hanging out, so he was like, "Let's watch it. This tunnel goes a long way, kid." It does. Heck, apparently in Soul Silver they even allude that it connects to Johto, so you can like go into the tunnel in Johto and wind up in Kanto, which is like crazy to me. But yeah, so we watched it. And I just remember the first episode of Baki, right? And it wasn't the Baki the Grappler. I'm watching that now. But it was like, it's the one that's on Netflix. I think it's Baki. I think it's just Baki, because Baki Hanma, Son of Ogre, is the second one, right? Yeah, so we watched it, and it was like, oh, here's these 5 guys who are criminals, who are like super dangerous, who are really good at fighting dirty. And they're going to Japan because here's this guy named Baki, who's the strongest teenager / high schooler ever, and won this underground tournament that everyone talks about. And so I was like, okay. Then it went on. I was like, wow, people are really disrespectful in this. And then I met Baki's dad, and I was like, wow. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an anime character as disrespectful as that guy. Even Guts is not as disrespectful as that guy. So. But yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that's probably what I'd cosplay as. Guts, or heck, I could probably pull off Midoriya from My Hero. I do like that show. I wish that they, with him, like in current arc they did this, but before I was like really hoping they gave him a character flaw, because I liked him before they did that. Don't get me wrong. I thought he was a really good character written. Maybe I'm lost in here, right? You know, he's got this heart of gold, and he wants to be a hero, but he doesn't have a power, and so, you know, but it's set points I was like, he's too much of a goody two-shoes, which is not bad, but it's like, you know, like my favorite Marvel superhero is Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a goody two-shoes, yes, but he's got his flaws, right? So in the first time he gets his powers, he gets his uncle killed because he's irresponsible. He's a teenager, he's going to be irresponsible with powers, so it makes sense that happens. You know, and then he learns from his uncle that he has to be responsible. And he doesn't get it at the time because he hunts down the killer who killed his uncle and ends up killing him. And this is not from like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but the actual comics this happened. And, you know, and then he feels bad because there was no need for this. He didn't have to do that to the guy when the guy was, you know, did that. And so, he goes on, and then every time with Spider-Man, he's a good guy, right? But he still makes mistakes in a fight. He still gets in over his head. You know, he does do quips. He does save the day, but there are points where he's really struggling because he got in over his head. He wanted to do this, but now it's not working because the villain's doing that. And so it makes it entertaining. And then in the end of the day, a famous saying from Stan Lee is that when Spider-Man wins, Peter Parker loses, and when Peter Parker wins, Spider-Man loses. What he means is like example, this game has been out. I feel safe to say this game has been out for almost 6 years. Outsiders like you need to show me some respect. Sir, I'm just traveling through this tunnel. If I didn't have to go through this tunnel, I'd leave it to yourself. No. Anyways, it's like the end of the Spider-Man 2018 game, right? He has to decide either to let his aunt die or give her the serum and let most of New York die. And so Peter Parker wants to save his aunt. Like, who wouldn't want to save your relative, your loved one, the one who's taking care of you? But at the end of the day, Peter Parker knows the sacrifice the few for the many, which sucks. And that's the scenario of Spider-Man winning, because Spider-Man is always going to choose the people of New York. And that is who he is. He's his whole shtick is that New York is where he's from. He wants to protect New York. Yes, there are a bunch of other superheroes in New York, but none of them really are like him. None of them go around saving cats. None of them walk old ladies across the street. He really just wants to be an everyday superhero, and not even just one who does all these spectacular things, but just helps people in New York. So, he's going to choose New York over his family, because that's Spider-Man. He's selfless. He's not selfish. And so Midoriya was a lot like that for me for a time, but as time went on, there was no flaws. Everything he did was like, this kid is a freaking saint, which isn't bad. Like, I really enjoyed it, but over time, after 4 seasons, right, you just you go, okay, everyone else is kind of having character development. And you're limited to character development in your skills, which is great. You're learning your quirk. Do you know how you can avoid getting lost in these mountains? You can make twigs. That is actually a clever trick. Learning Boy Scouts. Actually, yeah. They say if you're ever unsure of an area, you should always leave breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel to find your way back. And so, back to my rant. And so, it was awesome seeing him adapt with One For All. I was always super stoked to see him, learn something new and not break himself. And every time he saved someone like Todoroki, I was cheering and just fanboying, yes, this is what a hero should be. But then we get to 4, and then I'm like, okay, dude, it's season 4. You still haven't really adapted in anything but your quirk. And you're still, and my biggest thing is he was trying to be All Might, in my opinion. And that is relatable on a human level, because they want to be, like their heroes. But to me, it's just, I want to see a superhero be their own person. I mean, look at I'm trying to think of a superhero fan Kamala Khan. Look at Kamala Khan. She wanted to be just like this Captain Marvel. Haha, can you beat my power? But in the end, she becomes her own superhero. And yeah, she's a fan and she still wants to be like her, but she becomes her own. Midoriya, for a lot of the time, I was just like, dude, I know you want to be All Might. I know you want to do what he does, but you need your own motivation. Saving people with a smile on their face is a great motivation, but that's his. What is yours, why do you want to do that other than, being like All Might? Is it just something fundamentally that you want to do? And when you say save people, do you mean comfort them? Just knowing that you're around makes them feel safe? That was a big gripe of mine. Even though I'm a fan of the anime, I'm just always you need to you need to find your own kind of motivation for being a hero. And so, in the recent chapters and seasons, I've heard and I've seen he goes on kind of a dark path because he gets into a situation where he feels like no way's out, and so he goes rogue. And I was like, yes, great job. I have no room to critique the creator of the manga, by the way. This is my opinion. And I probably could not ever write a story half as good as his. Because his story, while I don't like certain things, is still an engaging, fun story. But anyways, when he did that, and I saw all the comments, and I was watching the videos of him doing this before I watched the season, because I was skeptical. I was like, really? I was like, thank you. Because now we have that character development that I was talking about. Now we see him doing something that's wrong in the society. He shouldn't be doing this because everyone knows that what he's doing is wrong, and the government forbids it. So I was like, great, now we have a character flaw, okay? So his character flaw is that he's too selfless, like a little like Spider-Man. He will sacrifice himself to save the people of the city and everyone around him. And so I was like, while it's a flaw that we've seen in a lot of superheroes, it's a good flaw because that's what we like about superheroes. Because in the beginning, I was like, like I said, he's too much like Superman. Now, I'll be honest, I don't hate DC, but that is like, DC's not my favorite of Marvel and DC. I like Superman. I think Superman's a great representation of what to be, you know, good and that. But the moments I love with Superman are like in the Justice League when he fights Darkseid and he's talking about how he lives in a world of paper and cardboard and that he's so afraid to even try anything because he knows he can break everything. Those moments are like, yes, because that's true. Your flaw as a character is you're too powerful. Eek! Don't try anything funny in the dark. Reasonable scream. However, the entire cave is lit up by Flash. So I think you need to like open your eyes or like maybe get checked if you need glasses. Anywho, but yeah, like those moments I love with Superman because it's like, yes, I know he's goody two shoes. Yes, I know that he would never really try to kill anyone. That's not his character. But just seeing him, like, explain, yeah, I kind of have the freaking, like, I have such a dilemma because everywhere I go, I just break stuff, and I have to limit myself, you know. So, like, that is why I really am excited for when I get to Season 6, which has been way out, because it's the season that made me go, yes, this is Midoriya. Freaking awesome. Thank you. Okay, I think we're going. Oh no. No, let's switch to Mankey because I was gonna. Oh, that reminds me of that Smosh real life Pokemon thing, Monkey Mankey. Anyways, so let me talk for her and then I'll continue. You have Pokemon. Let's start. So yeah, so that's like that is why I'm a big Spider-Man fan because he's like in my opinion, a great representation of a hero who is both really good and sometimes too good for his own nature, but at the same time, someone who is that way because the flaws made them that way. They were built by the mistakes they made, that by the regrets they have. Like, you know, that to me is why Spider-Man's the best because you can see it in every Spider-Man. Like Spider-Gwen killing her best friend accidentally because she had no idea he did that to himself, not knowing how to feel about it. Miles Morales, right? Depending on what version it is, he either accidentally gets his father killed, or he gets Peter Parker killed, or he even gets his uncle killed, right? And so, to me, those Spider-Man's always like, okay, I did this, and I had no intentions for that to happen, but it happened. So. Oh, we found a Machop. We're not gonna use you, but you are a broken freaking Pokemon because the champ is just like there's a reason he looks like a freaking world champion with a belt and all that. That's all I gotta say. But yeah. Oh. And I don't want to attack. But we'll catch him, add him to our Pokédex, and have him Machop. And I don't plan on using Machamp in this one. Possibly. So I have a team planned for Soul Silver or Heart Gold, whichever one I decide to play. I know I've been saying Soul Silver a lot lately, but I also like Heart Gold. And I'm a bigger fan of Ho-Oh than I am of Lugia. But Lugia is still cool. yeah, I'll think on that. But yeah, so I came this far looking for wild Pokemon. Clever, because there are different Pokemon in games. But yeah, so so one for sure member that other than Static Build, because you all know we all know I'm gonna use Static Build. Not even gonna hide it. One member I do want to get is gonna be difficult to find just because there's such a low chance to grab it. I want to get Heracross because I've never used a Heracross, but I think his typing is such a good advantage because it's bug fighting. And my friend, who is a big fan of bugs, is always singing their praise. And if I don't use Heracross, I will for sure use Scizor because I love Scyther, but the whole metal bug thing, steel bug thing, yeah, I'm 4 times weak to fire. However, there's no fire type gym leaders in the Soul Silver / Heart Gold region, and none of the Elite Four have fire type. And the only person I have to watch out for is Lance, who has a Charizard. So I'm feeling a bit faint. I haven't hiked in some time, and I'm sure his Dragon type's gonna be useful, or Ember, or some kind of fire type. Like that's my only gripe with him, and then the reason I'm kind of leaning towards Heracross if I can find him, because let's see, going through the gym. Gym 1 is flying, Gym 2 is bug, Gym 3 is normal, so fighting would help there. Gym 4 is ghost, so he'd be no help. Gym 5 is water, so we're going to be using Ampharos too. Another spoiler, but I love Marie. So that's taken care of. He'll help against steel, he'll help against ice. Yeah, and like it just, there's a lot of, he helps against I think 3 gym leaders. Oh. Okay, so not really. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards Heracross, because Scyther's steel, and while Bullet Punch is great because it always goes first, I really am thinking of using Heracross. And like, just so you know, I do have like planned teams for each of these that I'm gonna use, because like I said, these playthroughs are just me kind of going through the games and playing them normally, and that's just kind of like looking back and recommencing what Pokemon was and what Pokemon became. But when I start doing like Nuzlocke, not laughing. Hi. Oh, you have a fever. Okay, that is shocking. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I was wondering when we'd get a Primeape, and we have him. We have the boy. The boy that Ash caught, and took a while to finally get him to be a friend. And then after getting him to be a friend, gave him a way to fight in like a wrestling Pokemon thing. Like, come on, Ash. Such a good freaking OP Pokemon. And we're not gonna learn Rage, because Rage to me is helpful in Mystery Dungeon games, but not in this game. Hey kid, wants to see my Pokemon? Sure, or not. Pokemon Maniac, fights against Cubone, Shop. Yeah, and so I already have a planned team, and so like some things I have planned besides the spin-offs are like Nuzlocke. We've talked about that. One where you guys are I'm gonna ask you in like a video. I'll be like, hey, in this video, please post in the comments who you want me to use as a team. I will use AR Max cheats, and I will cheat those Pokemon in for us to use if I have to. And then I will use them in the game, and then boom, you know, I might use Master Balls to catch them, because I don't want to go through a lot of like not being able to catch them. But that's what we'll do, is we'll use those Pokemon, for example. And then other times I'll have like a spin wheel, right? And so let's say we're playing Gen 5. I will spin the wheel, and whatever type it lands on, I will kind of like ask you guys to pick it. And so this will probably be like the weird stuff. This mountain air is delicious. And so once we land on 6 types, it'll be the 6 types I use. There's things I want to do, like Nuzlocke of one type only runs. I know those might not be as exciting, but I like those because in the freaking anime, we see so many people using a single type, which is not a bad thing. But it's like you're using a single type of Pokemon. There's so many more types you could be using. Like Misty, for example. Yeah, Misty uses water type, but like to kind of help the fact her team might be in trouble of like electric and grass type, why don't you have like a fire type on standby or something? That's just how it is. But yeah, anyways, so after all my rants, thank you for listening to me as always. We're gonna end the video here. As I said, this video was a little longer because we got out of Rock Tunnel, but we're here. We're in Lavender Town. We'll be making our way to Celadon City next to battle Erica. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe. And as always, have a great night, evening, and day. This is Recon64 signing.